What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Raw, as well as some of the latest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including more Hall of Fame inductees, big news on why Charlotte was off television, disturbing backstage news about her, 2 huge mistakes on Raw, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now, as always, we aren't going to recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, the Viper's Venom. Randy Orton is Raw's clutch player, a superstar who delivers no matter how bad the show is. Last night's promo on The Fiend was solid, the type of promo that makes it seem like he might just find a way to destroy The Fiend. Orton's promo was better than the first hour of Raw and arguably the best thing on the entire show. Will Orton destroy The Fiend at WrestleMania 37? Well, of course not, but Orton's promo was so convincing that it will have fans wondering what tricks the Legend Killer has in store. Number 2, measuring out the monster. Speaking of The Fiend, kudos to WWE for continuing to ration The Fiend's appearances. The Fiend is a fantastic character, but he's best reserved for small doses, or they risk exposing him and destroying the character's intrigue and aura of horror. Last night showed how Alexa Bliss is a great addition to The Fiend's character, as she can serve as a mouthpiece for him in addition to getting herself over in her new character. Last night's Raw didn't have much going for it, but Alexa's promo and the short appearance by The Fiend was an excellent segment. Number 3, The King is Dead, Long Live Baron. King Corbin's appearance on Raw was a breath of fresh air, not only for the Raw brand, but for Corbin himself. In case you missed it, King Corbin attacked Drew McIntyre in order to take up Bobby Lashley on his offer of a WWE Championship shot to anyone who eliminates McIntyre. Could Corbin become a fixture on Raw and begin a feud with Drew McIntyre? If so, could he join the Hurt Business? A move to Raw could be good for Corbin, a talented heel who seems to be lost in the SmackDown shuffle. Whether Corbin ditches his King gimmick and returns to his Baron Corbin gimmick is anyone's guess, but we enjoyed seeing him take out McIntyre. Things would have been even better if Brock Lesnar showed up and took Drew out, setting a Bobby vs Brock match at Mania, but obviously that didn't happen. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, the terrible train. Last week we brought up the addition of train sound effects to Braun Strowman's entrance music, pointing out just how silly they make him sound. Sadly, it's still here, and while the awful train sound effects are the least of Braun Strowman's problems, it's a sign of its half-assed approach to booking the monster among men. If they want sound effects to reflect Strowman's current career, they should consider a train going off the tracks. Number 2, an embarrassing feud. The Braun vs Shane feud is embarrassing. There's no other way to describe Braun Strowman's latest burial. What started as a potentially promising program with Shane McMahon, who excels at being a cocky heel, and of course he always takes sick bumps after sick bumps, the WWE started things off with a stupid segment where Shane slimed Strowman and only made things worse with last night's report card bit. Their mock-up of Braun's 5th grade report card was cringy and something so silly that it makes the infamous Katie Vick storyline look like American Horror Story by comparison. Oh, alright, let's not go too far. But while we're on the subject of report cards, last night's Raw scored a D-, and it would have earned an F if it wasn't for the few good segments. And we do say few. Number 3, no heels in the women's division. The WWE should have 2 fantastic matches for the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship at Mania, but they found a way to transform them into 2 lackluster affairs. There are a number of problems with each program, but both share a common thread: the writers' refusal to turn anyone heel in the program, hence the annoying and useless involvement of the Shayna, Nia, Reginald triad in both feuds. While the case can be made that Sasha Banks shouldn't turn heel after just turning face, that's never stopped them before. As for Asuka, the WWE had the ideal scenario when Shayna Baszler put the Empress of Tomorrow on the shelf, and Asuka snapped when she returned, suggesting a new attitude. Instead, they're going with the cliched "can both women coexist" storyline for Asuka and Rhea as they challenge Jax and Baszler. The storyline didn't work for Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, and it's silly to think that they're going to make it work on Raw. Number 4, the cowardly champion. Is Bobby Lashley suddenly a cowardly champion who knows he can't beat Drew McIntyre, hence the bounty he posted on the Scottish psychopath? How else are fans supposed to interpret Lashley's actions, as he's gone from a monster who defeats wrestlers cleanly to a man letting other people do his dirty work? The WWE's explanation for Lashley's actions makes no sense, and it's obvious to us that the WWE is afraid Drew will get booed at WrestleMania, so it's doing everything it can to make Lashley an unlikable heel. Number 5, a pathetic promo. Can Matt Riddle deliver in the ring? Yes. Can Matt Riddle deliver on the microphone? Yeah. and somehow the WWE continues to feed him awful promos that make him look like a complete doofus. How bad are these lines? Well, apparently so bad that the Ultimate Bro couldn't even remember them, instead driving away on his scooter and heading to the craft services. Sure, it was funny to watch Riddle's blunder, but it had fans laughing at him rather than with him. It's another example of Raw writers at their laziest. Not only did that botch happen, but another one occurred when they had the main event graphics being posted up during the Hurt Business's promo. Come on WWE, we know it's Monday, but get your shit together. But that was the bad. What about the downright ugly? Yep, congratulations to Raw's writers for its first downright ugly moment in some time, splitting up the Hurt Business. Now, we've been dreading this moment ever since the WWE started teasing dissension between Alexander and Benjamin when they won the Raw Tag Team Championship. We won't go into details on how acclaimed the Hurt Business is with fans, as we've covered it before and it should be obvious to anyone watching Raw. The move makes zero sense for a number of reasons, including the group has yet to reach its peak. It's one of the most entertaining things on Raw. It's added life to all four members' WWE careers, and it's likely making WWE some merchandise money. Splitting up the Hurt Business not only shows how Vince McMahon books things on a whim, but it's clear proof that Bobby Lashley is going to drop the championship to Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Another bad move, as Lashley is on fire right now. But that was the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. What did you guys think of Raw? Was this an absolutely awful show? I'd think so. Let us know what you thought in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now, our first story looks at a WWE superstar being honoured with a 2021 Warrior Award. The WWE Hall of Fame ceremony will be here soon, and now it looks like they will bestow the 2021 Warrior Award winner on none other than its own Titus O'Neil. Fightful Select is reporting O'Neil, who is well known for his charity work, will receive the award that honours the Ultimate Warrior. As some fans felt that former WWE superstar Shad Gaspard should receive the award for sacrificing his life to save his son from drowning last year. Now look, he'll have his time, I'm sure. Titus O'Neil is still well deserving of such an award. Next up, the real reason why Charlotte was off television. Our fans are learning more about why Charlotte Flair went from calling out Asuka for a Raw Women's Champion match at WrestleMania to just disappearing off television. Now, according to Charlotte's fiancé Andrade, Flair was told by the WWE doctor that she was pregnant, but she took a home pregnancy test and learned she wasn't. Andrade discussed the situation during his recent appearance on Lucha Libre Online. She was confused because we went to a pharmacy, we bought pregnancy tests and everything went negative. How does a doctor, supposedly one of the best, go and tell her that? Andrade criticized the WWE further, saying, WWE didn't do anything about no blood testing to make sure, so it fell on us to go the next day and get tested to see if she really was pregnant. We did that on our own. Only then afterwards WWE offered to help, but they took her out of the storylines because she wasn't cleared because she was pregnant. 4 days after more testing, WWE didn't say anything. They pulled her out of storylines. Now, apparently there was some confusion over Andrade's interview, and Flair's team released the following statement in order to clarify things. What Manny said about the pregnancy test in today's interview is true, but a significant amount of context is lost in translation, and we'd like to clear that up the best we can. A few weeks ago, Charlotte received a call from WWE Medic telling her that her HCG levels had come back high and she was being medically suspended for pregnancy. That day, she took several home tests that all came back negative. A few days later, blood work and ultrasound confirmed there was no pregnancy. This was before any issues with COVID. She's currently medically cleared. This put a lot in context for her, mainly how small a women's career window is. The men are able to work well into their 50s, while the women are seen as older in their early 30s even. For an athlete in her prime, these years mean everything. Her issue was with the process and how the information was relayed as opposed to the information itself. Is Flair trying to make sure that Andrade's comments don't put any heat on her from management? What do you guys think in the comments down below? Next up, Andrade talks backstage heat on Charlotte Flair. A former superstar Andrade is claiming that there is considerable backstage heat on his fiancée Charlotte Flair from other women in WWE. Andrade discussed things during an interview with Lucha Libre Online, saying, "I have a lot of information, but I don't want to cause trouble for her. I can say that I don't know exactly that it was because of me that they removed her, but there is a lot of jealousy towards her. There are a lot of female wrestlers in WWE, but only 3 or 4 can wrestle for 20 minutes. A lot of them complain about her getting the opportunities. The former US champion detailed why he feels Flair gets so much backlash. They have a lot of jealousy towards her. They look at her as just a daughter of Ric Flair. I know she's a good wrestler and she's earned a spot in WWE. There's a lot of jealousy. After matches, a lot of people say she works stiff. Charlotte's famous father's name obviously helped to get into the WWE, but her performance in the ring has been exceptional. However, any resentment by women in the WWE could be due to what some see as Flair being overpushed to the extent that no one else gets an opportunity to prove their worth in the women's division. But there was also some disturbing allegations concerning her. Andrade also raised a disturbing allegation about Charlotte Flair, revealing she had problems backstage. One time someone took a photo of her when she was changing. We know who, but she didn't want to say anything and WWE didn't know about it. If Andrade's accusations are accurate, the WWE needs to step in and address the problem, as it's completely unacceptable behavior. Next up, did Bad Bunny potato The Miz? The feud between The Miz and Bad Bunny continues to heat up, with the two men throwing down again on Raw. However, some fans are questioning whether Bad Bunny punched The Miz for real. Either the rap star has learned a lot in a short time, or he needs work on his wrestling skills so he doesn't potato any opponents in the ring. And finally, WWE announces Celebrity Hall of Fame inductee. Last but not least, congratulations to William Shatner for his induction into the Hall of Fame Celebrity Wing. He's appeared a couple of times in the WWE, first in 1995. The man who famously played Captain James T. Kirk also inducted Jerry the King Lawler into the 2007 Hall of Fame and served as Raw's guest host for a February 2010 episode. But there you have it, folks, the good, the bad and the downright ugly from this week's Raw, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.